Okay, so here's a little more work with applying the formation rules. These are some of the problems we didn't get to in class. So I'll start with number 10 here. Probably you're getting to the point where you can just kind of see when something's not a woof, and number 10 may be a pretty obvious example of this. This certainly looks pretty funny right here. See if we can. Okay, so I'm going to be doing this in freehand, so it's going to be a little bit ugly. So T or T and something weird, Q then T, but we'll just go ahead and do it straight up. So we know T is a woof, we know T is a woof, we know Q is a woof, and we know T is a woof, all by Rule 1 that says any capital letter is a woof. And so now really our first question is this a woof? Well, if Q, then T is a woof. If we put parentheses around it like that by Rule 3, you can see that hasn't happened here. This bracket is going the wrong way. So this is not a woof, right? Number 11. I'm going to separate these here a little. All right. So number 11, we have R is a woof, Q is a woof, R is a woof, Q is a woof, right? All by Rule 1. We know that not R is a woof by Rule 2. And so we can do either one of these formulas, the wedge being the main operator here. So not R and Q parentheses is a woof. Oops, we can do not R is a woof here by Rule 1. Not R if and only if Q is a woof by Rule 3. And finally, we have joined with the wedge by Rule 3 is a woof as well. So this is a woof. All right. Number 12, we know that S is a woof. We know that S is a woof. We know that T is a woof. By Rule 2, we know that not S is a woof. By Rule 2, we know that not S is a woof. By Rule 3, we know that not S or T is a woof, right? By Rule 3, we know that S and not S or T is a woof, right? And by Rule 2, we know that not any woof is a woof. So that's a woof. Okay, let's do 13 quickly. That percentage sign is not one of our symbols. Automatically, that's not a woof. There is no rule, right? Just go to Rule 4. There is no rule that says you can use a percentage sign, so that is not a woof. Bad. Okay. Number 14 looks pretty straightforward. S is a woof, T is a woof, T is a woof, S is a woof, T or S is a woof by Rule 3. S and T is a woof by Rule 3, right? And S and T, then T or S is a woof by Rule 3. Rule 3. That's just fine. And number 15, Q is a woof, T is a woof, R is a woof, S is a woof. Okay, T if and only if R is a woof. Q or T if and only if R is a woof. Right? Q or T if and only if R is a woof. And so then finally we just need and S, Q or T if and only if R and S is a woof. But problem, right? This parentheses did not get generated. And if you'll remember, the formation rules will always guarantee you that there's only an even number of parentheses, if there are parentheses at all. And if you count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's not even, that's odd, so that makes sense in terms of our old way of doing things as well too, right? So this one was a woof, this one is not a woof, right? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and evaluate some of these formulas that we didn't get to in class. I went ahead and inserted some tables here just to make things a little cleaner. And here's the interpretation key on the right. So number 10, we've got T is false. T is false. Q is also false, which would make not Q true. So we'll just evaluate that immediately right there. And T is false. Okay, ask yourself what the main operator here is. Could it be the arrow? No, because this connects not Q then T by the formation rules. Is it the ampersand? No, because by the formation rules it connects T and if not Q then T. So this is the main operator. This is where our answer is going to end up being. All right, so the smallest subwoof to evaluate is right here. So if T, then F is F, right? By the truth table, which you've memorized by now. F and F is F by the truth table for conjunction. And so F or F, right? F or F is going to be F by the truth table for disjunction. So the answer to this, to number 10, is false. Okay, number 11, we've got R is false, so not R is true. We'll just go ahead and evaluate that immediately. Q is false, not R, again, is going to be true, right? R is false, so not R is true, and Q, again, is false. So not R if and only if Q, right? This is quite clearly the main operator here. So T, if and only if F, by the definition of the truth table for biconditional, is F. T and F, definition of the conjunction, truth table definition of the conjunction, T and F is F. And so now we evaluate F or F, and F or F by the truth table for disjunction is F, right? Okay, so on number 12, you can see here that, ask yourself, which is the main operator? You've got not S or not S or T, right? Being connected to S through the conjunction, and the negation is on the outside of the parentheses. So this negation is the main operator. That's what we're going to evaluate last. S is true. Not S is therefore false, and T is false. Okay, now we're forced to evaluate the negation here because, right, the or is connecting the not S, right? Or is connecting not S to T. So the negation of not S turns the false to a true. And then we have true or false, and true or false is true by the table for disjunction, right? And so now we have T and T, right? T here is the truth value of S, so T and the truth value for the disjunction is T, which makes that T, because T and T is T. True and true is true, right? So that is true, but then in the end, this truth value is being negated, so the truth value of this whole thing, of this whole operator, once again, is false. String of falses here. Okay? Number 13. P is true. R is false. S is true, so not S is false. S is true, so not S is false, and T is false. Okay, main operator, biconditional. Once again, we can do these either of these two formulas first. It doesn't matter. So T if and only if F is F, right? And F if and only if F is T. Truth table for the biconditional says so. And now we evaluate F, right, which is the truth value of this biconditional. T is the truth value of this biconditional. And F, if and only if T is F, right? So again, false. F, if and only if T is F. All right, number 14. S is true. T is false. T is false. S is true. main connective, conditional, T and F is F, T and F is F, and F or T is T. And so finally we have if F then T, right? Evaluating the conditional. If F then T, and the conditional is only false when the antecedent is true and the conditional is false. So this is true. Okay, so we finally get a true one. And the last one, 15. Q is false, T is false, R is false, and S is true. Okay, where's the main connective here, the main operator? Well, it's not Q. The wedge is connecting Q or T if and only if R. And the conjunction, is connecting this whole formula with this formula. So this is the main connective, which we'll evaluate last. So the only thing we have to evaluate here is T if and only if R. I mean, this is the one that's forced on us first because we can't do the wedge until we've done this. So T if and only if R, that's FF. FF is T. FF is T, and FT, right, evaluating the wedge now, FT is T, right? So now we evaluate T and T, and T and T is T. Right? So the truth value of this formula is true. Okay? Hope that helps.